one of the songs, he just grabbed a coffee cup, went into the booth, and just did a full take of the song with his ring on his finger, just going, and it was like, Mr. Ajay Friese, thank you so much for coming on Radio Chatter with us this afternoon. It's a pleasure to have you aboard.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm so excited. This is incredible.
You probably know Ajay best as Vijay from Netflix's hit series Lost in Space, or Eddie Sanchez from Season 4 of hit drama TV series Riverdale. Ajay is also a talented multi-instrumentalist whose debut single Jasper just dropped across all streaming platforms.
We are over the peak of Mount Olympus right now at 10,500 feet, and it's going to be wacky, wavy, and inflatable.
It's going to be so inflatable.
I don't know. So your YouTube channel has a fair amount of videos of a young Ajay. We're talking about like 12 years old here.
Yeah.
And there are a couple videos of you from sort of like a festive family gathering. You're kind of singing at a chalet, I think it was, in Mount Washington. And you got really long hair, and your voice is really high. So, point is, have you, in your mind, always been a performer?
Yes. I've been singing and humming. My parents said I was humming before I could talk. And they said I would always just be humming and like doing little dance moves. Until I was about 6 years old and I started to get more self-conscious about it, I would always go to the bathroom, just freestyle singing songs for just like 20, 30 minutes. And then I remember being on the toilet singing when I was about 6 years old. And then I was singing my heart out. I didn't realize that I was singing super loud because I didn't care at all. And then I heard like so much laughter from the kitchen. And
what did
I got
you say?
silent, and then they were like, keep going. And then I was just, I haven't really done it since then. It kind of got to me.
But that was a pivotal moment in your development as a performer.
I guess so. I guess it was like, I got to get this stuff off the toilet and onto the stage.
We've got some funny stories here that I'd like to unpack a little bit from a very, very young Ajay. Can you give us some context about the term Ajay facts? What does that mean?
Oh, Ajay facts. Ajay facts are pretty much just things I would put into conversation that sounded really interesting that I thought might be true, but I had no idea if they were true, and probably a lot of the times they weren't true. And this is probably something I did from when I was like 6 to probably about like 16 or 17, and I probably still do it once in a while without realizing it. I just like to have interesting conversations, and I don't know, I didn't realize I had to drop real knowledge on these people. I thought I just had to drop knowledge.
So you and Anjali, your cousin, went into the garden and you guys stole a snake and you hid it inside of your room for days.
Not for days, one day. For one day.
And what was your parents' reaction like when they eventually found the snake?
Okay, so we found a garter snake in the garden. And
where they typically dwell?
Yeah, where they typically dwell. It was a small one, and we're like, oh my gosh, we should keep this as a pet. We were about 6 or... No, we were 4. I think we were 4, because later that day we went to my preschool for their like spring fair. But anyways, we found a Tupperware yogurt container in the garage. We were like, this will make a good habitat. My grandma and my mom were at the edge of the garden, and they were looking out at the view, and so we were like, oh, where's that ladybug? Oh, where's that ladybug? So they knew that we weren't looking for the snake.
It was like a decoy.
It was a decoy.
Yeah, to distract their attention.
And it totally worked. So we got the snake in the Tupperware container, and then we put it in my room, and then my dad was like, hey, we got to go to the spring fair. We're like, oh, we'll come back and take care of the snake later. We're two 4-year-olds, and then we're like, oh, but we don't want the snake to escape, but we didn't want to put a lid on it because then the snake couldn't breathe. So we just draped some socks over the top, and then we went to the spring fair at my preschool. We got back, and my mom sat us down, and she said she found a snake in my room, and that she had to nurse it back to health and give it water. And
you guys were very good.
Yeah, she was really upset
good
about
odors.
it. And then we just blamed it on each other.
That's right. Yeah, that was the funniest thing. So she talked to both of you individually, and then one of you said the other person had done it.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you'd like to say to Anjali this many years later?
It was 100% Anjali's idea, and I was totally against it, but I was peer pressured.
It sounds like when you were growing up, also you were obsessively into certain kind of niche things. You had these phases until you got bored of the thing and then moved on to the next thing. So I think it's a really good opportunity for us to play a little game called Did You Dabble With It?
All right.
So I will tell you the thing, and then you tell us if you did indeed dabble with it. Let's get started. Magic.
Oh, I still dabble in magic.
Duct tape wallets.
Oh, dabbled hardcore in duct tape wallets, duct tape belts, duct tape roses, duct tape purses.
Mongolian throat singing.
Never once. Actually, I probably tried it before.
Astronomy.
Yes, I dabbled in astronomy.
Cattle rustling.
I don't know what that is.
Knitting.
Knitting. No, but I did have a crochet phase.
Photography.
Yeah, I used to be so into photography, especially astrophotography.
Artisan mustard curation.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Hermit crabs?
Yeah. I went through a hermit crab phase when I was like 15 or so, and I was just obsessed with them for like a month. I wanted pet hermit crabs so bad. I just read about them for like 3-4 hours a day. I knew their diets and like what temperatures and climates they liked.
Let's talk a bit about Lost in Space. And now Vijay isn't a character from the original Lost in Space, so has that made it harder that you don't really have the precedent to go off of, or has that made it easier in the sense that you don't really have a pair of shoes to fill?
I think it's made it a lot easier. I don't have a pair of shoes to fill, and I really like the character, but a very fun fact, Vijay, in a way, was actually in the original series.
Oh, really?
There's one episode where Penny Robinson has a brief, and this was pointed out to me by a super fan of Lost in Space. Penny Robinson has a brief romantic encounter with an alien boy who somehow speaks English, named J5. In Roman numerals, 5 is V, and so J5 is VJ, and so that's where they got my name.
Does it sort of feel like every corner you turn, it's like a new launching pad to you're like, this is the one, like this is the new launching pad to your career?
People don't really understand how much work goes into success.
You got to hear the answer no just so many times.
So many times. I mean, I hear the answer no like 96, 97% of the stuff I auditioned for.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
no kidding.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's
and
really
it's just
reassuring.
become a really regular thing. Like, I expect to hear no. And so, but I don't know. I auditioned for 6 years, and I booked 2 roles over 6 years, 2 very small roles, and those were my first 2 screen roles. And I probably did 50 or 60 auditions in that time. And I never thought that acting would be a career, and then it just until it just became a career for me. So it just kind of happened. But it's not like I auditioned for 2 years and then I got my first lead, because a lot of people don't even want to wait that long. And I mean, also the whole time you're building connections even when you don't book a role.
Yes.
You know, if you impress someone but you're not the right choice for the role, they still know you exist. There's still a casting director who has seen you, and the more they and when you're looking at Vancouver as a market, you got like 10 to 20 casting directors, so it's fairly small, and so you get to know the casting directors after a while, and they know you, and so that's how you eventually. I mean, like that's how you eventually get roles. A few other times I've been asked to audition because they know of my work. So I've been like thought of, right? So
Yeah.
that happens after years of auditioning and stuff. So all the theater was training for this, but the whole time I was doing it, I was never doing it to become an actor. I was just doing it for fun
Because
the
you liked
entire
it.
time, because I liked it, and I never ever thought that it would turn into a career. And when it did, I realized that all those things that I had done, they had been preparing me for this, and if I hadn't done maybe even one or two of them, maybe I wouldn't be ready to do this.
Let's talk a little bit about music as well. So a lot of your fans know you as an actor, but you grew up immersed in music, and so you released a lively EP under the pseudonym Close the Bombay Doors, and in 2016, and then you recently got to live out a pretty incredible dream by recording your debut studio album in New York City. So what's it like going from playing gigs in your parents' basement to being surrounded by a bunch of studio musicians and audio engineers?
Well, recording in New York City was the craziest thing ever, because everyone in New York City is so good. Like, the concentration of talent is incredible, and any of those people who are recording on albums in New York City, they're like average good of the professionals in New York City, and they would be like the best in their city
Anywhere
like,
else.
Any other city. I was definitely the least skilled person on the team, which is a really nice place to be. But I'm also the boss in a way. So they're all playing my songs, and I wrote all the songs, and so they're just taking what I wrote and making it
Come
sound
to
the
life.
best it could be, which is kind of like my experience on Lost in Space. I was like a rookie actor in a way, acting with all these super experienced actors, and when they're way better, they just elevate you, I find. I've wanted to record an album since I was about 12, and over the past 9 years, I've had lots of different plans for lots of different albums, and but I recorded this one, 10 songs, with my really good family friend, Everett Bradley. I call him Uncle Everett, and he's actually a member of Bon Jovi. And
That's incredible.
Before that, he was a member of the E Street Band with Bruce Springsteen. And so he has and he lives in New York, and he has all these connections to these incredible musicians. So I went to New York, and we poured over all my songs, and we chose which ones we thought should be on the album. And I don't know how to read or write music, but I write a lot of my own melodies for different parts.
Yeah.
And so I just sing them. Like, I want the violins to go like da 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 da. And then he would play that on the keyboard as we were making demos, and then he would transcribe it onto paper, send it off to the right strings player, the right horns player, based on kind of how he thought I wanted the song to sound.
And he has all those connections, and he can just do
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And then we went to the studio, and we watched them record all the parts, and we kind of directed them as they went, and it was just a dream come true to see my songs recorded in just the best they could sound, I feel like.
I was obligated to ask you this. What do your parents think that your stage name should be?
Okay, so my full name is Ajay Nicholas Parikh-Friese. My last name is Parikh-Friese. It's hyphenated, combination of my mother and my father's last names, as many people have. But we kind of felt like that was too hard to pronounce and too long. It's kind of one of those names that people just kind of skim over because they're like, that looks complicated. Before my first kind of like TV show that I was a lead on came out, I kind of had the opportunity to change my stage name to whatever I wanted it to be. So we landed on Ajay Friese because I like the way it sounds, and I'm also half European and half Indian, and Ajay is an Indian name and Friese is a European name.
So you get to kind of tip of the hat to both of them there.
You get the best of both worlds. But my parents, we were driving one time, and we were like, what should it be? And we were talking about all these options, and then my mom was like, I know what it should be. Anno. And I was like, Anno? Like, I guess this sounds pretty cool. And she's like, yeah, Anno Yingboy. And I was like, that just, like what? She's like, say it fast. And I was like, Anno Yingboy. Annoying boy. And it's annoying boy because my parents find me really annoying.
Yeah. can you think of anything surprising from recording the album that you wouldn't really necessarily think about until you had done it in real life for the first time, like recording an album?
Okay, Jake Goldbass, our percussionist, our head percussionist and drummer for the album. One of the songs, he just grabbed a coffee cup, went into the booth, and just did a full take of the song with his ring on his finger, just going, and it was like, and it's, the coffee cup is in the perfect key of the song.
He just like knew
And
that
it was
by
the first coffee cup he
measuring
grabbed.
the diameter and
He
was
didn't-
like,
no,
that's
no,
gonna
it was
vibrate
totally
this
by
much.
chance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was like the first coffee cup he grabbed. It was in like the perfect pitch for the
We're
song.
talking like a porcelain kind of cup,
And so,
right? The
yeah,
ceramic.
one of the songs you're gonna hear like a, and it's a coffee mug that he's playing with his ring on his finger. And so, yeah,
That's gnarly.
That's super gnarly.
Are you going to hold us in suspense, or is there anything spicy that you want to tell us and the fans about the album at this point?
Several of the songs are highly explicit. There's a lot of different genres on the album as well, and a lot of the songs sound vastly different from each other, which is kind of something I'm nervous about, but also very excited about. I mean,
Reggae, country, fusion.
Yeah, there's some fusion. There's like a orchestral trap rock song. And then there's some like softer singer-songwriter, acoustic guitar, lap slide guitar, just like an organ songs. There's softer stuff, and there's stuff that goes really hard, and it really is on a big spectrum, which is kind of the music I listen to. I listen to all sorts of genres, and I think a lot of people do, especially in the age of streaming.
When you were 2 years old, you were known for belting out songs on the pot while hogging the bathroom, as you mentioned earlier, for like 45 minutes at a time. And then you found yourself in Costa Rica with no electricity. And so at what point in your life did you feel like you were truly a songwriter?
In grade 8, I went to a music festival called Rifflandia, and I've been every single year since. And I was so inspired by the musicians I saw on stage, and I got to see like almost every show in the front row, because I would just tap people on the shoulder and say, I gotta go find my mom. And so I made it to the front of every concert, and I saw incredible bands like Ra Ra.
That's a good hack.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore. I saw incredible, inspiring bands like Mother Mother, Ra Ra Riot, Vince Vaccaro, and I was just so inspired by their music, and I didn't even know how to play the guitar. And then we went to Costa Rica, and I brought a journal with me, and we went to an eco lodge, my mom, my sister, and I, and there was pretty much no electricity, certainly no cell data, no Wi-Fi. It was candlelit at night, and it was raining a lot, and so I just sit in the hammock, and I started coming up with all these lyrics and tunes at the same time, and I'd write them down in my book. And I didn't ever have to record them. I would just remember all the tunes. And then I got home, and I learned how to play the guitar. And then I realized that it was really easy to put chords to all my songs. And that's when I started really being a songwriter.
Okay. And is that kind of the process? Is the music comes after the song is written, or is it the other way around, or a little bit of both?
It all happens at the same time for me. It always comes to me. I never really sit down to start a song, or very rarely I do. Usually a song would just come to me. I mean, songwriting is kind of one of those things that even if I didn't want to do it, I feel like I would always be doing it for the rest of my life.
Who do you say are some of your musical influences then? We talked about kind of your songwriting process a little bit, and then, yeah, musical influences. Who do you got?
Big influence is John Mayer. John Mayer is probably one of my favorite artists, and I've probably listened to pretty much his entire discography now. I love Mother Mother. I think they're genius. I've seen them live lots of times. Shawn Mendes is a huge inspiration because his music is inspiring, but it's more his career trajectory and how he carries himself as a person. And he's a great role model, I think. And
Yeah.
And he's younger than me, actually. Brockhampton.
Yeah.
Brockhampton, they're huge inspirations. I mean, they're like a whole bunch of just not much older than me guys.
And
who are-
they did it. Like, they just got
just make
together
it
and
super-
beat the
yeah.
odds.
What they're doing, though, is just they're being authentic and original. And I think that's like definitely the most interesting thing you can do as an artist. And I just love their stuff.
I got one more little set of questions here, but these ones are super easy, kind of more rapid fire sequence. The Instagram fan questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
This one is from Shruti at
Shruti?
friend. Yeah, sorry, my pronunciation. I'm just gonna murder these names here.
What can I see?
I apologize in advance.
Oh!
Yeah.
Thank you, Friendly Brown Fangirl.
So the question is, would you ever tour India for your debut album?
Would I ever tour India for my debut? Of course. Absolutely. I would love to tour India for my debut album.
Gayatri _B. Can you tell me if I pronounce that?
Gayatri?
Gayatri _B. When did you know that you wanted a career in music, and who pushed you to do that? Two question marks,
All right.
not just one.
The first thing I ever remember wanting to be when I grew up was a conductor, and that was when I was about 3 years old. And I would always walk around the house with 2 chopsticks because I didn't know that conductors only used 1. And that's the first thing I ever wanted to be. My parents always supported me, believed in me, and done everything they can to help me rise to be the best I can be in music. So I really owe so much of it to them.
Dhruvesh Shah, 16, asks, will you ever do a Bollywood movie?
Absolutely. If I get hired for one.
Rachel Rebecca, but her the E's are replaced with X's.
2 first names.
What is your favorite part about filming Lost in Space?
One of my favorite parts about filming Lost in Space is hanging out with Mina Sunwal. She's like so sick, and she's one of my best friends. And I don't know, I'm just lucky to have, because we're all different ages on Lost in Space, and we're all friends. But Mina and I are some of the closest in age, and we just, I don't know, we have a really good friendship. So I love doing that. And also, I don't feel at home more than when I'm backstage at a theater or on set.
Shazza _Ahmed 5. How fun was the Shawn Mendes concert that you attended?
Shawn Mendes was awesome. Oh, he has such a killer voice, and I think also I can hear it's come so far in the past few years. He says he does 2 vocal lessons every day, and he works out once a day. And I could also tell that. Guy's like,
He is ripped.
he's ripped.
Lean Judala.
Yeah.
Do you want to work more for Netflix?
Absolutely. Netflix is an awesome company.
Expect more.
Yes.
There's going to be more.
Thank you. Thank you for the
At
question.
Lost in Space Off. Lost in
Yes.
Space Off. This is a fan account for Lost in Space.
An
Got 2,000
awesome
followers.
fan account. One of the
They're
biggest
killer.
fan accounts.
If you could be a character in any movie, who would it be?
There's a little social media campaign for me to be cast as Sokka, the older Katara's really goofy brother in Avatar: The Last Airbender. If anyone makes a live-action series, and I would love that. I think we have a lot in common, and I love just being super goofy and random. And also, I love Chicken Joe from Surf's Up, which is my favorite movie. And when I'm much older, I would love to play like Snape, Severus Snape, in like the reboot, the 40 years from now reboot
Of Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Oh,
Or
that's clutch. I think
Yeah.
he'd make a good like Steve from Blue's Clues. You ever remember that? Like Treehouse?
yeah, who
Super
doesn't-
engaging
who
and
doesn't remember
captivating.
that?
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think the kids will really like that, you know? Yeah.
Blue's Clues. Is it bad that I'm looking like there, then there, then there? You're just going to have to make a lot of cuts, I think. Sometimes I'm like, thank you for that question. Thank you so much to everyone on Instagram who asked me questions. Thank you.
All right, Ajay, let me know when you want to fly. We'll get you flying a little bit just to give the fans something fun.
Do I have to use the pedals at all?
You don't have to. I can take care of the pedals part. You just focus on the fun stuff. So, yeah, we're in a descent right now.
I got
Let's,
it, yeah.
Oh,
Push in.
I don't have to tell you anything. You just do it yourself.
Up, down, left, right.
Yeah, give us a little turn, and then one more. Oh yeah, just pull up a little bit. and then a little forward.
This thing do a loop-de-loop?
You could if you're going fast enough.
Are we going fast enough?
Okay, fine. You exposed me. We are going fast enough. I'm just not going to let you because we're really not supposed to.
Have you ever done one?
Not in this plane before, but yes, I have done them before.
Am I going too steep?
No, it's it's a pretty quick descent rate. Your
traffic at your
ears are going to feel it, but you're doing fine. Well, Jay, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on Radio Chatter this afternoon. Thank you so much for coming flying.
Thank you.
And looking forward to seeing Rat Girls and catching up with everything. And let's go flying again soon, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. You know exactly what to do. Fasten your seatbelts and subscribe for more.